Hey, what's up, everybody? Your host here, CM, coming to you with another Common Sense Perspective episode. And, I just wanted to simply talk about subjects that, come to mind, subjects that may matter to people. And, just one of those things that people are thinking about but don't speak about. So I speak for you, right? I know what you're thinking, but you just don't want to say it because it might hurt other people's feelings, it might ruffle feathers. I'll just say it for you. Right? I say it all the time, anyways, regardless. And I know what you're thinking. But anyhow, there's always so much things to talk about in general, and common sense. What you think when you think is common, but it ain't so common. So that's what I bring into this perspective. And what I noticed is that when it comes to political stuff, it's not really, like politics in general, like presidential stuff, whatever. It seems like people don't seem to really care for it. So I'll just talk about other stuff that do matter. Um, like so far, the whole, I think my best viewed video so far is why electric cars suck, and they suck, all right, flat out. And why they're terrible on the road too. I mean, they're terrible. Etiquette, terrible driving etiquette on the road. I mean, you name it. There's just so much shit. And so, that's what I'll just bring. I'll just bring subjects of talk of that stuff. And before I begin into what I wanted to talk about, I talked about in a video the other day. See if I can find it, about how Jordan Chiles got stripped of the bronze medal, and I explained the whole story about it. And I just think that because Olympic was woke, they wanted to kind of have that moment. And I still stand by that, by the way. So then they stripped her medal because the judging error that they, I guess, figured out was originally right. All right, let's think about it like that. The judging was originally right. The contesting by the U.S. Was wrong, and then they deemed it as, oh, they were late in reporting it, right? Because they wanted to blame it on something else instead of taking the heat. And then so they stripped her medal anyways, off of just because it was reported like 4/10 of a second late, 4 seconds late or something like that. Sorry, 4 seconds late. It's like, get out of here, man. That's just straight garbage. They don't want to take the heat because they're trying to give a woke moment, where everybody, all the, three black females on stage. I mean, it's a first and things like that. And when it was all in error, right? And now they said that they won't reconsider ruling that officially stripped the bronze, and it shouldn't. I mean, how many times are you going to keep changing the results? But anyhow, this is what I want to talk about: minimum wage, California, right? Yeah, this is a disaster, right? Minimum wage, California went up back in April. All right, $20 an hour from, I think it was 16 an hour, and other jobs of minimum wage still remains at like 16 an hour right now, which is pretty good in my opinion. Um, and then fast food is 20. But when you look at other industries, like they were talking about like the healthcare industry is supposed to be raised to 25. That was kind of quieted, right? I don't know if they actually did or not. I know they delayed it, but the talk of that has been quieted because this whole $20 minimum wage really just took the headlines and all that. And so it's been a disaster, right? We're 4 months into it now, and it's been a disaster. Right? What's gone on since, right? Cost of everything has gone up in terms of food, right? Let's see. I went to Jack in the Box like a week ago, and burger, fries, and a drink, right? Your meal at a Jack in the Box, uh, it was like $13.99. That's not even including tax. That's just the menu price. I was like, shit, but I bought it anyways. But I'm just saying that. And then when you upgrade the to curly fries and all that, right? Because a lot of people upgrade to curly fries, right? And so that, I don't even know what it was after that. I ordered other items. I just remember what caught my attention was the menu price. What used to be like probably $8.99, $9.99 is now $13.99, right? It's crazy. And so that's what happened there. Shit, your McDonald's, just a simple hamburger that used to be like, what, 75 cents or $1? I think it used to be on the dollar menu. I think it's almost like $3 now, just for that simple burger. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that. And so everything's gone up, right? And so you have said, oh yeah, it's unprecedented. Oh my gosh, they're so happy. Look at the people all so happy and everything, cheering, yeah, yeah. But look at the workers that you're getting there, right? Low skilled, low skilled workers, right? Low income, low skilled workers. Look at the type of people you're getting, right? Do you see, young teenagers, young adults, maybe? No, you just see full-grown adults that, oh man, it's so emotional, right? And low-skilled, workers, because obviously, let's just face it. There's only so far you can go if you come into the country, whether it's crossing the border, if you know what I'm saying, and all that stuff. But the point of it is that there's a lot of things to look at all these different angles, right? I mean, where do I begin? There's so much to talk about, right? So there it is, right? Democrats delay healthcare worker minimum wage increase because they're supposed to go to like $25 an hour. So that got delayed because I think because of the ramifications of the $20 minimum wage that's gone up, and also it's they're trying to kind of just let things kind of quiet down a bit before they push this. But plus they have budget problems right now. California has budget problems. And you keep trying to force wages, and the pushback on forced wages is what? You close up business, you raise prices. It doesn't do nothing for nobody, right? So on the back end, what happens, right? Close business, you cut hours, and then yeah, you got your wage increased, all right. But how's it going to be better if you have closed up businesses, raised prices, and cut hours? It offsets it anyways, in that way. So who really won? Not you. You didn't really win. So all you dummies out there that think that minimum wage, oh man, it's so great, $20 an hour. Yeah, wake up. It's not working. All right. And guess what? Two things are happening right now. All right. There's two fronts that are happening. This idiot, all right, it's causing mass layoffs. Pizza Hut closed down. Not closed down. They laid off like 1,800 drivers, delivery drivers. They said, you're changing our business model. You want to raise minimum wage? He caused Pizza Hut to change their business model and say, for example, we're not going to deliver. We'll just lay off all our delivery drivers, and you come pick up our pizza. Wow, isn't that funny? And so, yeah, good job, Gavin. But on top of that, two things are coming, right? One of the things that Gavin Newsom did was he appointed like this fast food council that's supposed to look into things and look at proposals and what they feel is best for people in the fast food industry. So guess what? Already the talk next year is they're looking to increase fast food wages another 3%. All right, so if you're making you're making $20 an hour, and you want to increase that by 3%, That's going to be something there, right? 3%. Think about that. You're going to make another 3% on that, on a raising the wage, right? And how is that going to be beneficial to the business when they've already been struggling, laying off, cutting hours, closing businesses, and you still want to raise it another 3%, right? Isn't that crazy? Just to think about. So that's the talk, right? Of next year, they're supposed to have this committee that's in talk of increasing yet again another 3% next year. I don't know how that's supposed to be approved or pushed through, but anyhow, Gavin Newsom for you. Now, on top of that, there's actually a proposition in California in November, right? You're voting for elections and all that stuff. You're voting for all these different propositions. I might do an episode on all the propositions in California, just give you my take on it, right? And what I think about it. Early on, I'm thinking and seeing that there's a bunch of bonds on the propositions this year, and no to bonds. All right, so that's pretty much no to everything that's going on. I think nearly every proposition I've read so far, it's all no. All right, except for maybe one, which is Prop 47 reform, which is the reason why we have high crime in the first place. But that's a different talk. All right, so but one of the propositions is to raise minimum wage across the board, not just fast food, but minimum wage across the board from $16 to $18 an hour, right? And I'll tell you how they came to that. I think personally, what happened was this $20 minimum wage was a test, right, to see what sort of feedback you would get out of it, right? If it looked good, if it ran well, and everything was hunky dory, everything was great. Oh yeah, they would have pushed on that proposition to be $20 an hour, right? But $20 an hour was so bad, and it's already, the results are what I just mentioned, that they said, all right, on this proposition, we'll dial it back, right, to make it look like we're increasing wages, but not, up to 20, because that's, it's kind of taboo at the moment. So $18 an hour, right? It's almost like a compromise, a tweener price there. And that way, it'll be like, oh, $18 an hour, that's reasonable, right? Because it's only $2 more in essence, right? So that's why that's on there. And of course, a common person say, well, that's reasonable. California, is high cost of living, needs to be raised. Oh, 16 to 18 is not too bad. And so it's not a $4 jump. It's just a $2 jump. I think it's going to really fool people into voting for it. So that right there is a no for me also, because here's the thing, all right? And I'm going to kind of lead the conversation to this, all right? Common sense, all right? I'll even go back to the days when I worked my first jobs, all right, before where I'm at now. Minimum wage jobs, all right, which is mainly fast food, and there might be other, type of jobs out there that pay minimum wage, but mainly food, restaurant food. A lot of those type of jobs pay minimum wage, right? Because, especially if it's a mom and pop's business, pays minimum wage. And the reason why is because, well, one, they got to run a business, right? And these type of jobs are low-skilled jobs, right? I mean, what does it take to flip burgers and drop down fries and prepare food and all that, right? It's not rocket science. You don't need a college education for it. Shit, you don't even need a high school education for it, right? It's just redundant work of preparing food, easy food, right? It's not like you have a supermarket full of food to put together. No, you just have a menu and a few items to make on the menu. You put it together, You do it enough times, you know how to make an item, a food, right? So it's minimum wage, right? Because at the same time, a business needs to run a business. They pay the employees to do the work, and that's the work you do. It doesn't take a ton of skills. So when I first worked, I was my first job. I was 17 years old. All right, I worked at Taco Bell. That was my first job. I didn't expect the world out of it. I didn't expect to be there forever either. And that's exactly what happened, right? So what do you do when you work at these minimum wage jobs, right? You gain your skills, right? Maybe you learn how to talk to customers. You obviously know how to prepare food. You talk to customers. So you get better at talking to people, right? So you have these skills that you gain, right? You know how to count money, right? That's part of the thing with fast food. You learn how to account for things, count money and balanced budget, and making sure that your drawer is correct. And then what do? You move on, right? You look for other jobs now. You're saying, you know what? I think I'm better than minimum wage. I need to do something more. I need to look for something that will pay more, right? So I did the same thing. I looked at the job that I did, and I looked at supermarkets now, right? Supermarket job at the time when I was doing minimum wage. Let's see, it was paying probably about 35 cents more an hour. But for me, I looked at, all right, it's paying more. They're giving me flexibility on my hours because I needed it for high school / college, and I was just like, shit, I'll take it, because it's a pay increase and most importantly flexibility of work hours. So I jumped over to Food 4 Less, right, which is a market out here in California. I went to Food 4 Less and further my skills, right? So I continue to engage in talking to customers. I learned how to stock stuff. And then there's different departments you could go into, right? You could go into the dairy department. You could go into the meat department. You go to the bakery. You could go into the, what do you call it? The vegetable and produce department there, right? And each of those departments also involves more skills and actually wage increases for those respective departments, right? The base bottom you can get into is getting in there and working as a person that stocks shelves and engaged in customer service. That's what I did. I got my foot in the door, worked, and I could have gone into those departments, but I didn't want to do that. I was just kind of because you needed to commit full time, and I couldn't commit full time at the same time. And pretty much the position I was at, that was the only job that was flexible with hours. The rest of the other jobs were more like you had to commit more hours that I couldn't commit to. So again, as you gain skills and you gain knowledge and being able to talk to people, things like that, what happens? Well, shit. I developed a relationship talking to the sales guy that was ordering beer at our store. So what did I do? I talked to the guy all the time. I asked him, "Are you guys hiring?" "Oh yeah, we're looking for box stockers all the time. We're always looking for people, to stock the shelves of the stores. That we give them account stores to go to, stock the shelves." And I was like, "Shit, that sounds pretty good to me." And guess what? From making $6.75 an hour at Taco Bell to like $7.05, $7.10 an hour at Food 4 Less, it jumped now because I ended up applying and jumping over to the beer company, and it was $10 an hour. All right, it's base starting pay. I was like, damn, that's a big jump from 7 something to $10 an hour. And I go around stocking shelves, right? The driver will drop deliveries to the supermarkets. I go around and I stock the shelves and then put the rest of the delivery away. As I started doing that. So as you can see, minimum wage jobs is not meant to be a career job. And that's how California is treating it. California is treating it like it's a career job that, we need to raise minimum wage because cost of living is so high. So we want you to really, live better and have better increase in wages, but they're not thinking that it's going to drive prices up. They're not thinking that it really doesn't really help the workers themselves, because they're either going to get laid off, the business is going to close, and prices are going to go up anyway. So the cost of buying goods is going to go up. So you really lose. You still lose. And guess what? That's what's happened, right? And, meanwhile, if you do things like that, think about that for a minute, right? You further yourself, because that's what these jobs are meant to be. These jobs are meant for you to continue to make progress, and you really have to work to get those higher wages. And that's what I did. I went to a $10 an hour box stocking job for a beer company, and then I ended up jumping over into the sales gig for full-time work after I graduated college. And then the rest is history, right? Even though, as and as time went on, my wage has increased over time because of the position that it entails, and not necessarily the laws and policies and stuff of California, right? The companies dictated the wage increases that I fell into, and at the same time, when I felt like I didn't want to make a career out of this beer company forever, right? I talk about that story all the time. Well, in my other video, in my other channels, but I talked about it in my video too, prior video, about living on the wage of what I was working at my beer job. All right, I didn't want to make a career out of it. It sucked. All right, you can't get nowhere, especially for 30 years doing the same thing over and over with limited ways of going up the chain, right? Because the next level, to get up from beer sales was going into supervisory job, right? Which was very few and far between in this family-owned business I was in. So when the opportunity came and I got bypassed on that, being bypassed on the opportunity really showed me something, right? That it showed me something. It was a writing on the wall for me. And plus, at the same time, I was dissatisfied with the career I was in. That what did I do? I've been seeking for higher grounds the whole time. So, I wouldn't say midway through the career. I'd say early on in my career, I was looking at what I was doing, and I was like, I can't do this forever. And I started looking into law enforcement, because law enforcement has a better deal across the board. Yeah, the job can be dangerous, right? The job can be stressful, but look at it. The wages are higher. The benefits that you get is great, right? And to me, that outweighs the dangers of the job and stuff like that I was willing to take. So I said, shit, this will be something of that will run circles around my beer sales job. So I started looking into that career. But at the same time, as time went on, because it's a process. You don't just get into law enforcement right away. It's a process. You got to go through backgrounds, testing, psychological review, all this other crap, right? And all that stuff, while it was happening, applying to different agencies and all that at the same time, it takes time. They got to go through a ton of candidates. It takes time, right? I get it. So I was working my job at my beer company, right? And time went on, a supervisory job came up. All right. And as the supervisory job came up, I was like, this is finally an opportunity. I could finally move up, get into something I wanted to do, which was get into a leadership position and get paid for being in a leadership managerial position, right? Because it's time to lead by example rather than following the leader, right? My time was there, all right, and then submitted it to apply to do that, and guess what? Somehow my application got bypassed, even though I submitted it a week before deadline. Bypassed. I called and I said, hey, what's going on? Oh, we didn't see your. It's like, no, I submitted it a week before the deadline. Oh no, we found it now, but we're already in the second round of interviews. Oh wow. All right. Sorry about that. Not even like giving me a chance. I said, all right, the writing is on the wall. Guess what? I'm out. As soon as I get that word, I'm out. All right, because if I was getting the supervisor thing, I might have just hung out and stayed, right? But instead, when I finally got the word, I was about to go into the next academy. I was out. I got out as soon as I could because I couldn't deal with that crap no more. That was, to me, that was the writing on the wall. And been in law enforcement ever since. Great pay, triple the pay, believe it or not, a month, monthly. I am getting triple the pay that I was getting for my sales job. Plus, I have benefits that will, you know, evolve into pension at the end of the career. What more can I ask for, right? And so that's how you're supposed to live the American dream, right? You're supposed to live the American dream by continuing to gain your education, your skills, and better yourself so that when you get out of these minimum wage jobs, you don't make a career out of these minimum wage jobs. You want to live better, you got to make yourself better, and the only way to make yourself better is to continue to make progress in your career, in your jobs, into your background to further yourself, right? Yeah, it does help if you have education, of course, but you don't necessarily need the education to get those type of jobs at the same time. It's all about the skills that you acquire, your people skills. A lot of this stuff is all about your people skills, how you communicate, right? And if you parlay that into something, you could actually better yourself into making yourself the best you can be and then getting paid for it. And that's the American dream, right? So that's how you're supposed to do things. That's where I stand on this minimum wage crap. I say no to raising the minimum wage. People need to figure themselves out and better yourself instead of relying, because it's almost like a handout, right, from the state. Instead of relying from the government, whether it's federal or state government, to pay me, pay me, pay me, better yourself. All right, this minimum wage crap is only making things worse, and it's so obvious because look at it again. Everything's up, right? And we're paying for it still, right? Luckily, I'm in a better position to pay for all this stuff now because if I was still at this job, or I was at previously, this beer sales job previously, shit, man, it'd be a struggle right now. And that job itself is higher than minimum wage. All right, so in order to better mitigate all this crap, stop raising the wages because it's not going to do any better for the business. It's not going to do any better for the people because you still lose. All right. Plus, California just needs to change it in general because they can't just keep thinking that we can sustain living in California like this. That's all I got to say. But that's a whole different talk for another day. So other than that, I just want to say thank you. Subscribe to my channel for other conservative, not conservative, common sense perspective talk. Because that's what it is. It's just common sense. But people are stupid. To be honest, I mean, people are stupid. And other than that, yeah, shoot me a comment. Let me know what you think. I'm trying to put together another video on another matter that's been bugging me for some time, but I think I'm finally going to put it together, so I'll do that. Probably, maybe the next one. We'll see. So yeah, thank you again. Comment down below, and let me know what you think. I'll see you next one.